Generally speaking, I would say I was disheartened, but actually, I was disgusted. I was so disgusted. People don't actually want Black women's opinion. They just want us to be silent. They want us to shrink. And when we don't, and when we speak with clarity or we speak with confidence, then we are attacked. And that's exactly what happened to me.
I'm not Presley by chance. I'm not Presley by mistake. I am Presley on purpose.
So, if you noticed, I have a change of scenery today. I'm actually working out of my office. I'm in my office today. I normally sit out in my living room and I do my episode, but to be honest with you, I didn't feel like trekking everything out into my living room. So I said today I'm just going to do it from my office. So today's episode is going to be brought to you from my home office. But yeah, I wanted to touch on something that had me taken aback this weekend because what I experienced, generally speaking, I would say I was disheartened, but actually I was disgusted. I was so disgusted. Um, this weekend actually reminded me of something that I've known for a long time, and people don't actually want Black women's opinion. They just want us to be silent. They want us to shrink, and when we don't, and when we speak with clarity or we speak with confidence, then we are attacked. And that's exactly what happened to me this weekend. I saw a video on on Instagram, and generally speaking, I don't even comment. I normally scroll. I see something funny, I'll laugh at it. I might send it to one of the targeted folks in my in my DMs that we send each other a bunch of funny things. I normally do that. If I see something that requires a word of encouragement, then I will do that. But if something that is generally controversial, I normally don't say nothing because I know how I am. I know how I am. And in this particular case, I actually voiced my opinion, but I voiced my opinion with a neutral tone. The gentleman had a video that he posted, and he wanted the perspective from both men and women. And he was expressing how um, he found a sense of peace based on the situation. And I'm not even going to go into the situation, but, based on the situation, he found a sense of peace. And so what I did was first, I acknowledged his courage for even getting on a public platform and voicing his opinion and his feelings in that moment based on the video that he had that he showed. And so I first expressed that. And then I basically gave him my perspective based on my lived experiences. And I made it very clear, I love my brothers. Y'all know that. If I call things out how I see it, if you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. I'm gonna call it out. Men or women. That's just how I am. That's just what I believe in. I don't know. Maybe it's a Libra thing because we always, we're always balanced until we're not. You know what I'm saying? But I always advocate for my brothers. So I did not come at him sideways whatsoever. I just gave him my perspective based on my lived experience on what the potential cause for the other person's actions to be. Again, I'm speaking from a woman because he said he wanted perspective from a woman. So I spoke from a woman. And then I also addressed the actions of the other person in the video, who happened to be a woman, because her actions was suspect. And I called that out because, again, I call it how I see it. Well, when I tell you the amount of disrespect, hate, being totally attacked, whoa. I mean, it was coming left and right. I mean, they was throwing them, and your sister was like, but I ain't no punk, so I was giving it back. And let me tell you something, I had time this weekend, and I gave it back to every single person who decided they wanted to respond to your girl. Because what I needed them to understand, and that wasn't disrespectful, I made it very clear that what part are you not getting? He asked for a woman's perspective, and that's what I gave. I wasn't placing blame on anybody, and I never placed blame. I just based it on what I thought could be a potential issue for the other person in the video. because I lived it. I know it. I'm a woman. I can speak on it. So for them men to come at me so crazy the way that they did was so insane. It was so insane. And I mean, even to the point that it got somebody was, calling me a name. And I'm like, really? That's what we're doing? So I had to call them out on it. Like, oh, so that's what we're doing, gentlemen. We're being disrespectful. We can't have a conversation. We can't have a difference of opinion. You can't see things from a different lens. Are you that jaded? Are you that salty when it comes to women? Was it necessary for you to get sassy with me? Because I didn't even, it wasn't even called for. It wasn't even called for. And then to try to say that it was excuses and, that's what us women do. We try to bash men, never bashed anybody, never said anything disrespectful, literally just gave my perspective. And then finally, one gentleman jumped on and was like, yo, what is the problem? He asked for perspective, and that's what she gave. Like, he was like, and I was like, thank God there's somebody that actually gets it. Because it was just like, like I said, the way it was articulated, the way it was expressed, there was no blame placed whatsoever, even on the other party whose actions was obviously sus. They were literally sus. I'm not even going to lie to you. But, you know, I was just like, this is so crazy to me. And, that led me to believe that, not even led me to believe, that brought me to the conclusion that this is still a real thing, that, we are just not protected. And I'm not placing that on every brother, because like I said, there was that one brother that came to my defense. I think there was another person who basically said, yeah, well articulated, they got it. But for the other ones, I mean, there was one dude, I mean, he called me a clown. Now, first of all, I found that actually funny. If you really know me, certain things just does not get under my skin. So I actually laughed and I and I responded, and I probably shouldn't have responded this way, but I was like, ooh, somebody's panties are in a bunch. But but generally speaking, I have to remember I have eyes on me or whatever, so I got to be mindful of my responses. But that one just tickled me. I couldn't help myself, so I had to tell you that one. Oh damn, I didn't do my little laugh track. Can't even find it. But anywho, but yeah, so that was the response that I got. And I was like, wow, that's what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? And I think somebody even tried to come at me and tell me like he was a doctor and that, to show my credentials. And I'm like, dude, first of all, the first thing I did was go to his page. And when I saw what he looked like, I was like, first of all, I wouldn't want you looking at my privates. And I certainly want my baby to be the first thing you see when they come out. So you can't possibly be a doctor. Kick rocks. And thank God I have thick skin, and thank God I have a sense of humor. But one thing I'm not is a punk ever. So I'm going to respond whether you like it or not. But like I said, that really went to show me that, wow, this is disturbing. And not only is it disturbing, it's disgusting that you can't even be safe on a social platform, that you get bullied by these social media bullies. They get behind these pages and they just want to buck shots at you. But again, I'm Wonder Woman. I'm blocking them shots and then I'm sending them back to you. That really entertained me this weekend. And at first, I wasn't sure if I even wanted to talk about it, but I was like, no, I felt it was necessary. And what made me also want to talk about it was because I actually happened to see another video, and this one was so disturbing. A woman was walking to her car, and there was a guy following her, and she's video recording him as she's walking to her car. Now, at first, I thought she knew him because she was kind of like laughing it off. And I don't know if she was afraid. I don't know, if she called herself, well, let me just be cordial. So eventually he'll just go away. But as she kept walking, and when he realized that she was videotaping him, he became aggressive. I mean, aggressive to the point that I was afraid for her. But what she did do, and what was smart that she did, was she turned around and she started to walk back to the place of business that she came out of. But again, these are the things that us women experience when it comes to some of these men being so aggressive and so disrespectful. And I say to myself, is this how you talk to your daughter? Is this how you talk to your mother? Is this how you talk to your aunts? Like, who raised you? In the famous voice of what's my guy, the comedian? I love him. I can't think of his name right now. But who raised you? How dare you be disrespectful to her? How dare you challenge her? How dare you come after her aggressively. How dare you talk down to her? How dare you? Like, seriously. And again, it's not all my brothers. If it don't apply, let it fly. But for those of you who are those dudes who have no level of respect, lack decorum, lack human decency, this is for you. This is for you because it's absolutely disgusting and it was so unnecessary and so uncalled for. And I'm always going to be the one that's going to say something about it. I'm going to say something about it because it's just not right. It's just what makes you think, like, my question is, what makes you think that it's okay? Are you that butthurt? Did somebody hurt you that bad that you feel that you got to take it out on every woman just because she has an opinion that was very clear, um, that you didn't agree with? And then on top of that, not even see it from that perspective, the fact that she wasn't even pointing fingers at anybody, she wasn't placing blame on anybody, she was just giving her honest opinion, speaking from her lived experience and speaking from her perspective. You have a problem with that nuance to be able to see something from a different lens? But then I thought about it too. Sometimes, not even sometimes, all the time, it's a lack of education. It's a lack of education because if you can't agree to disagree. For instance, I can take constructive criticism, or I can take the fact that not everybody's going to see things my way. First of all, I wouldn't want anybody to see things my way. And then also, too, I don't have a problem with debating something if I really stand on something. But it could be a healthy debate, a respectful debate, not calling anybody names, not disrespecting anybody, not trying to put somebody down. That's what real grown, educated adults do. That's how they communicate. But also lacked education, lacked common sense. One dude, I had to tell him, like, reading is fundamental because it's in plain black and white that I'm not calling anybody out. It's in plain black and white. I'm not blaming my brothers. It's in plain black and white that I'm telling you that it's my perspective. Like, what part of that are you not getting? That really, it grinded my gears. It really did because it was so uncalled for. It was so unnecessary. And I needed to make sure that I voiced my concerns about that because it's not right. It's not right. And it's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. And if you are okay with being that type of person, then something is wrong with you. And again, if somebody hurt you that bad, if a woman hurted you that bad that you feel like you got to go out and disrespect all women who didn't even do anything to you, you need to go seek therapy. You know how I always say, you need to get on somebody's couch and lay down and talk to them about what your issues are and seek some help. There's free help out there, people. There's free help out there. And if you have medical insurance, it's covered. Okay? It's covered. And you may want to explore that because that was so not cool. It was so not cool. And like I said, luckily I have thick skin, so I was a little entertained by it. But, I really had to say something because it just wasn't cool. Anywho, I don't want this to be like a rant. I don't want this to seem like it's Adina bashing all black men. Absolutely not. I'm just calling out the raggedy ones who felt it was necessary for them to be disrespectful to women just because they didn't see things from their point of view. That's who this is for. And if you have a problem with it, and if the shoe fits, wear it and just hold it on your chest because that's who this is for. But then also too, this is also a lesson for us women and also for our brothers that we have to be protective of one another. We have to be mindful of making sure that we are safe, like we feel safe. And we should not feel unsafe when we're walking down the street or trying to walk to our car. We shouldn't feel unsafe when we're trying to go to our homes and open our front doors. We should certainly not feel unsafe on social media by social media bullies. We should not have to feel that way in our own community. That should not be acceptable at all. And it needs to be called out. And I'm always going to be the one to call something out that is just not right. This is a family meeting right here. This is a family meeting amongst us black folks that this is not what we should be doing. We should be protecting one another. We should have each other's back. You know what we're going through right now in this country. And right now, more than ever, we should be standing together. We should not be having situations like this. And again, Your women, your wives, your sisters, your nieces, your daughters should be protected by her Black man. Point blank, period. Should be protected and should not be disrespected just because you don't see eye to eye with her. Okay, I got off my soapbox. I said what I had to say. But yeah, so that is Presley on Purpose. That is today's episode. And I just want to say thank you so much for spending this time with me. And I will see you guys next week. I'll probably be back in the living room on my couch, sipping my tea or possibly a beverage. I don't know. We'll see where my heart takes me. But you guys have a good one. One. All right, y'all, that's today's episode of Presley on Purpose. And again, this episode is brought to you by Queens Royale. That's queens-royale.com, my streetwear clothing brand that calls you to wear your crown. So if something in this hits you in your spirit, hits you around the edges, or in the group chat, go on and share it with someone who needs to hear a word. Make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with me. I'm Adina K. Presley. You can find me everywhere: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. And listen, you're not out here living by accident. You're not becoming by mistake. You are becoming on purpose every single day. I'll see you next time. One.
I'm not Presley by chance. I'm not Presley by mistake. I am Presley on purpose.